Welcome back to the channel. I'm Millie from my latest hit movie, The Housemaid, and today we're here to talk about it with my BFF Shea and special guest Tina. So buckle in and sit down. Let's enjoy the Screen Level for a podcast. Cause this is doing gangbusters in the Cineplex right now. It's still doing good numbers, and yeah, it's just so fun. So I'm here in my jeans, and I want to talk about my movie. We can cut so much of that.
I'm keeping that whole thing in.
Oh, my boobs are in the way of the microphone. Okay, here we go.
Brandon with his newfound breasts is having trouble with the microphone. Millie, sorry. The resemblance between you and Sydney Sweeney is absolutely uncanny, I must admit. We'll put up a side-by-side for anyone to get their comparisons in now.
I stunt doubled for all the ass shots in the Euphoria trailer that just came out. In case you were wondering, that's
the carousel shot too.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Oh my God. All right, well, trying to recalibrate slightly to get on track here. Yes, as Brandon mentioned, we're joined by a special guest today, my friend Tina. And yeah, we're super excited. So I want to preface this with a little bit of a story about this movie, because I saw the trailer for this and was completely uninterested in going to see the movie. And I was back home for the holidays, and my friend Taylor messaged me, and she was like, "Are you going to go see The Housemaid? I read the book, and I really want to go see it." And I was like, "It's based on a book?" Like, I had no clue about this whatsoever. So I was like, well, you know me, the big theater guy, encouraging everyone to go all the time. So I was like, yeah, absolutely, let's go. And frankly, there was nothing else. So when I was back home, I saw The Housemaid and Anaconda. What a close to the year theatrically. Semi spoiling my thoughts on both of those movies. But no, so I went in and I saw it. We had a lot of old guys at our screening, and then Tina messaged me a little bit ago and was like, "Oh, like, what did you guys think of The Housemaid?" I'm like, "Well, I saw it. We both saw it, but we didn't want to dedicate an episode to it." So I said, "If you wanted to come on, we would gladly have you." So thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
I'm excited to talk to, someone well-versed in the book. She's read the book, she's seen the movie, so we're really going to dig into all the details. I have to say, I don't remember what I scored it on Letterboxd, but I'm pretty sure, like, my like, thinking back to it, I was just like kind of mid on it. I was impressed that it wasn't just what the trailer sold, because I thought that was a case of like the whole movie. So there is a more to that. It's not exactly what the trailer sells, which I prefer. Be a little dishonest in your marketing. I'm fine with that. But yeah, so it had a little bit more narrative beats to it than I was expecting. So I thought that was interesting enough. It's doing gangbusters, like, financially. This is a big recovery for Sydney Sweeney from the what was even that other one called?
Madam Web.
Well, but there was
it goes
that
back
one
that far.
It goes
Madam
back,
Web.
yeah.
What was the one?
It was like 6 movies in succession that did terribly.
Yeah, and the Christina or something. What the hell was that? Christy was the new one. Yes.
Which was supposed to be so good.
Oh, the huge bomb, like that, like one of the biggest bombs of, like,
one of the biggest disappointments
history.
Of the year.
Yeah,
So,
theatrically and everything else.
To clarify that, it was Madam Web in 2024 that seemed to really start the downward slope. She then produced and starred in Immaculate, which was a pretty decent, okay, nun movie. Nobody saw it.
It was okay, like religious body horror. It's all tropey.
Yeah.
It's the same stuff recycled.
Exactly. She did Eden, which was a straight to prime streaming movie that was pretty good, I would say. But again, I don't think anybody saw it. She played just like a very worn down housewife stranded on an island. And then she did Echo Valley. Never heard of it. And then Christie, which was the big one that like came and flopped at the same time as Smashing Machine, which came and flopped. So, kind of a rough filmography, I guess you could say. But yeah, Anyone But You really put her on the map, I guess, after Euphoria obviously put her into that space. Opposite our boy Glenn Powell. But then, not a lot of big box office hits. But this one, it's almost paramount to Avatar. Like, Avatar is like a Goliath at the top. And then for a normal movie, like, this is still doing really good numbers. And we're almost in February, and this came out just before Avatar, just around Avatar, December. Yeah. So kind of wild.
Remarkably long legs.
Yeah, we weren't going to talk about it again, but it's almost double warranted now that it's still doing better numbers than most theater movies. Like again, Anaconda came and went in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That movie that you really liked, Is This Thing On? Can't find a screening for it after 2 weeks of being in theaters. But Housemaid, I can still get like VIP, AVX, plenty of options. No ScreenX,
Right.
obviously, but
And let's also, tackle the elephant in the room. Housemaid completely snubbed by the Oscars. Not a single nomination for Housemaid in the
oh my God, I'm
Oscars.
so offended.
Oh my God. Where was
Oh my
your
God.
best actress nomination there, Sydney Sweeney? No, so yeah, that's my high level stuff. Like it wasn't as bad as I thought. It still was, I think, like generic enough that I think like people like I always kind of my barometer. I'm like, if you don't watch a ton of movies, you might enjoy this more. It's just I feel like it's well enough put together. The one thing I will say that I thought the only thing I remember really frankly was the needle drops were some of the weirdest uses of songs in a movie that I've seen. Like they were just weird songs I found, but also just like their uses like were making me laugh in the theater. Just
It
when they
was
would
comedic.
start in weird,
Yeah.
yeah, like
Yeah.
I was the best use of needle drops in the year, but that was one thing that stuck out in my head. But and I gotta say, I love can't remember the guy's name. Brandon will probably know.
I got it right here. His name is also Brandon, by the way.
Oh, well, that even double easier to remember.
Brandon
I thought
Sklenar.
I dig that guy. I remember ages ago when Drop came out, there was rumors that he was to be the new Batman. I don't know if that's at all the case or whatever, but I'm like, I didn't hate him. I thought he was good in kind of both aspects of the role without spoiling anything. I thought he was really good. And yeah, I like the performances. Like I can't really shake them. Sydney Sweeney plays Sydney
Oh,
Sweeney in pretty much anything I've seen. So
yeah.
I don't
I think
know.
I think for me, like the problem, it's not really a problem, but the casting of Sydney Sweeney, she's really great when she gets the opportunity to play an unhinged role.
Hmm.
Like as soon as you get to flip that switch, she's phenomenal. She will give you a mental breakdown. She will give you whatever you want and leave it all out on the floor. But when it comes to the setup of a film or just like delivering a line, she is quite literally just delivering dialogue. Like
Hmm.
she's not acting or reacting. It's just she's just saying the line as Sydney
What do you
Sweeney.
mean? That's crazy. I would never sleep with your husband.
She just wants the art to speak for itself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. That it was killing me too. It was killing me too. And then especially like seeing her in again the Amazon Prime movie I was talking about. I feel like she's doing a lot more acting to be like a 1920s immigrant family housewife that gets stuck on an island and she's wearing like rags and she's giving birth in the woods while she's being hunted by rabid dogs. I'm like, that's a movie. And then watching The Housemaid, I'm like, this is like contemporary kind of like I want to say
Yeah.
female fantasy, and
Content.
don't get me wrong.
Contemporary
Like
content, yeah.
contemporary content for the woman's brain here. I'm the expert on this right now. I've just watched all of Heated Rivalry, and I thought that was a phenomenal series. So
Yep.
I feel like I'm not that much of a traditional like hater when it's like, oh, it's just some movie for chicks. You know what I mean?
No,
I love a good
yeah.
chick flick, but this is
It
not towing the line for me story wise, at least.
in terms of like the story in the novel, that I feel was a lot more of an actual psychological thriller. I feel like
Yeah.
the movie really departed from being a psychological thriller and tried to incorporate other like reactional aspects like body horror and like the the punishments were very different and things like that. And like without like I don't know, like are we doing spoilers? Some
Well, just
spoilers?
quick, what do you what did you like the movie? Did you not like the movie? Then we'll get Sydney's take and then we'll jump into it.
Half and half.
You're kind of in the middle. Okay.
I liked it, but there was a lot that I had questions about why they changed it.
Okay. All right. All right. Sydney, what is your take on this?
Like, yeah, totally. I just thought it was like a great paycheck and I had a great time. Brandon's so handsome. I love seeing him. Yeah, but no, again, talking about the Brandon guy, the main actor in this, he was in Drop as like the heartthrob boy toy, and he was also in It Ends With Us. So he's kind of cleaning up this like, I don't know, like I'd say like contemporary women's box office market. And I thought that was
The
fascinating.
the the
Yeah,
novel to film industry is loving him.
loving him. He's on a roll for what that's worth. He's a strong part in it, but again, I think all the character writing and some of the plot twists and reveals that I'm sure we'll get into. I expected a lot more. I thought it would go further, darker, or at least a little bit more of a pivot. There's scenes in this movie that are like very montage feeling, and after like the build up to get to that, you're like, oh, if they're montaging this, there's a big twist coming, and you feel that kind of it's very transparent. I don't think it's as clever as I wanted it to be. So, yeah, I guess long story, I would say I think I would have given it like a 3 on Letterbox. Like I liked the
Okay.
movie. I wasn't bored by it. Um, Before we get into spoilers, because this is verging on spoiler Terry, I had the movie spoiled for me by Reddit. Thankfully, you might know where this is going.
Get
It was
off
the
your
one.
goddamn device, Brandon.
Well, it wasn't the plot that was spoiled. In fact, I watched the movie for the plot, not at all. But no, the scene that was spoiled was the full nudity scene, where there is a Sydney Sweeney sex scene, and for
I
all
should
the
have
side
known.
boob and frontal boob shown, I was like, "All right, babe, happy Christmas. Let's buy some tickets, hit the Cineplex." So yeah, I was pretty jazzed to see this movie based on that. That was all the marketing I needed, was that spoiler. I went to the movie somewhere around an hour 20 in, or hour whatever in when it happens. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's it. Like I thought there'd be more if that was so easily spoiled. And then yeah, I waited for the plot to conclude after that. That was kind of the high point of the roller coaster for me, and I knew it was coming, so it wasn't like I was surprised by that. That was so yeah, long story, I guess. It's okay. It's unoffensive. I recommend it to people who aren't like cinephiles looking for the next greatest thing. I think it's a good popcorn movie, I guess, for average theater goers. My whole theater really seemed to like it and be in on it. Like a lot of people in theater were like, "Oh damn, no way!" When stuff was happening. We joke about it, but the normie take where it's like, "Oh, that's like that." People reacting, being like, "That's crazy." If you watch like 3 movies a year in theaters, I'm sure this is a pretty good one for you. But I think for us here on the podcast, I have to see like a movie a week for 52 weeks a year minimum. It went under the bar. It was not above the bar for us, but yeah, that's
I
all I
think
can say.
a quick note too, if you are, because it is still in theaters when this comes out, that you can go see it. My buddy that works at a movie theater said it's unbelievable how many phones he's seen in the Housemaid screenings. A lot of, not it's
During,
not bringing out, yeah, it's not bringing
yeah,
out the greatest audience at this stage of its release. But you know what? That's okay. It's not for, I can live with it. But like I said, our rule, enforce your rules that you're in your theater. You paid the money, you yell at people. Trust me, it pays off. We'll have a nice story for that at the end. But yeah, okay. So Tina, dig in. Let's kick it off for you. Those are our general takes on the movie. I want to hand it off to you to dig in, because you'll have more of the details than we've got. So
Yeah, like what
all
are like the
right.
biggest changes? Because like I'm really confused. I only read the script. I didn't
Oh
read the novel.
gosh. There were a lot of changes, like from just like I said earlier, the casting of Sydney Sweeney, like I feel like that took out a lot of the desperation of the character that you see from start to finish.
okay.
And that in itself made it so much more thrilling, and like just it provided the audience with more emotion. And I think like if a different actress had been cast in that role, then maybe we would have gotten more of that desperation. But we had Sydney, so we had great boobs, and like whatever, it's
And
great.
great jeans. I love my
Great
jeans.
jeans.
They're passed
Um,
down. Oh, sorry.
she's
Canceled.
letting the art speak for itself every time,
Yeah.
guys, every time. So there's that. Like that, I think really affected the tone of the movie versus like the novel, as I said before, like less of a psychological thriller
Mhm.
and more leaning into like fast paced, like body horror and less twists. They minimized characters like Enzo. in the movie they did him dirty. He is not just some good-looking
Yeah.
window-lurking
Yeah.
gardener.
Yeah.
He is a pivotal character in the entire series from start to finish across all novels, not just the first novel.
So
So
just
that's
on that, actually, can we? I don't remember because but I was told the same thing by Taylor as soon as we got out. She was like, "What the fuck?"
yeah,
And because like I think he gets
yeah.
kicked out and like never comes back or whatever. Like I don't remember
So
exactly what happened, but
kind of, yeah. Like basically, how it played out in the movie was that Sydney Sweeney, Millie, sees him staring at her through a window, and she's like, "What's this guy's deal?" to Andrew, and he's like, "Oh, I'll get rid of him." And that's it. That's
that's yeah,
basically
okay. And don't
that's
okay,
it.
spoilers for the future books, I think, but they get like married, don't they? The
They
two
get
of them?
married, they have children. They
Yeah,
like they
like
literally it's a
they
full
really
it's
planted the
he's a
seeds for
fully
that in this
yeah.
movie.
Yeah, he's a fully realized character that spans multiple novels. And it's yeah,
Yeah, they didn't
it
set that up for
they did
shit
not.
then because
So
yeah, like he was like a
that was one of the
creepy.
biggest things I was left wondering about. How are they going to continue the plot of the novel into the next film when they haven't even touched it
Well,
in the
and
first one?
also even on that note, and Brandon always hates this because I always love jumping to the very end, and Brandon hates that we jump to the very end. But I'm gonna jump to the very end just for a second because the like closing bit of this movie, like
Also different.
specifically setting her
Yeah.
up to be this like husband killing
Yeah,
superhero
like
is how it hit me.
vigilante. Yeah.
I
She's the
fucking
John Wick of
was
housemaids.
dying.
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard at that. And I'm
And
like, surely that can't be how it's set up in the books either. And apparently it's not.
it,
So,
it's not like not entirely as obviously.
okay.
Not as obviously, but there is kind of an insinuation that she moves on to another job and
Hmm.
that this other job has heard of her.
Mm,
So there's like there's some nuance there, like you're kind of left
yeah.
to like and then in the next book um the plot continues, but yeah,
Yeah.
so it's yes and no. Like it's not as John Wick as the film made it out to be. Like she's not intentionally choosing this path like in life. She's just a desperate girl who is solving
Right.
problems as they come.
Yeah.
And that is like the most I think important aspect of Millie's character that was neglected in the film that like really it made everything else kind of unravel because she's not just like a victim of circumstance. Like she is kind of proactive in her life and like has thoughts like, oh, well, what if this happens? How am I going to be prepared?
Yeah.
And in the novel, some of those thoughts are, what if someone locks me in this room and I can't get out?
Right.
And in the novel, too, the attic room, it's like a broom closet. Like it's like
Okay. Way
you
smaller.
have enough space for like a single cot, your mini fridge, and a half a size dresser, and that's it. And like the window is supposed to be like the size of her hand. So not
Okay.
like some big windows, not some spacious room with lots of light. Like it's literally supposed to like show you how desperate she is to like
Take
create a
this
new
job.
life. Yeah.
Because
And
it's almost
From
like a dream job when they set it up too. Like
exactly,
they're super rich.
exactly.
The room's not like it's not great,
Yeah.
but it's not
Yeah.
horrific.
But
Yeah,
she's like,
yeah,
I have a bed now. I have a roof over my head. I don't have to shower at a truck stop. Like in the novel, it set her up as quite the destitute, alone character who had
yeah,
no one, had nothing. And so she was clinging to this job, doing no matter what had to be done to keep it, to be able to have some sort of stability, which in the novel proves to be quite um like you see early on that the stability isn't there.
yeah. Hmm.
And the relationship between Millie and Andrew is not nearly as quick paced out as it is led to be in the movie. Like it's quite the slow burn and like she's trying to figure out her life outside of their family and like um yeah, it's just there were a lot of aspects that I felt weren't carried over that really set the tone and develop the characters a little bit more.
Yeah.
Um so like Millie's desperation, Mina too, like you do see a lot more of Mina um trying to like project crazy into the
Yeah.
situation, like acting. You see more of that like in the novel. In the sense that like there is a mysterious peanut butter allergy that her daughter has that she doesn't tell Millie about. And then everyone freaks out when she almost serves her peanut butter. Like
Right.
it's stuff like this. The dollhouse didn't exist in the book. There was no like dollhouse imagery.
Yeah, that was
There
purely just
was
there for creepy visuals. I felt
well,
that too. I was like, that doesn't
and
pay off at all.
at one point early on in the novel, when Millie meets Cecilia, she's like internal dialogue. She's like, "Oh, I bet this girl has a dollhouse and like kills me every night in it," or something
Right.
like that. But like, you don't see a dollhouse. There's no like, there's that didn't exist either. Like, and they made that such a big part of the narrative. I feel this dollhouse that
Well,
just didn't
that
make sense.
scene gave away the twist
Yeah,
for me. Like I
yeah.
instantly was like, "Oh,
And
okay." Like I
there
knew
was,
what was coming
yeah,
now.
it
Having knew,
was
like
the
again,
projection.
knew
Yeah,
nothing. Yeah, and it's
yeah.
like 'cause she's got the dad doll, and he's the one saying the
Yeah,
weird like authoritative line or whatever, and I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, he's fucked up." And then we
Well,
get down and like, "Guess what, guys? He's fucked up." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, that
and
gave it away too.
throughout the novel, like Cecilia doesn't actively like mimic Andrew.
Mhm.
Like she's not like juice is a privilege. It must be drank from a clean cup. Like that doesn't happen. Like in fact, like Cecilia, like it's not really like mentioned about like Cecilia's true feelings towards Millie until the end when
Mhm.
she is kind of telling her mom, Nina, to go back to the house to save
Right.
Millie.
Yeah, that felt so ham-fisted because the whole movie, that kid is giving Sydney Sweeney's Millie like
The
the
hardest
cold
Hates
time.
her.
shoulder,
Yeah,
and then at
Yeah.
the
yeah.
end she's like, "You gotta go save her, mom," and she's like, "You're right. I'm now the empathetic character in the story and not
To
a total bitch," which she's been for
to
like
be
90% of the
fair,
runtime.
the novel is not the golden standard of writing. There are a lot of plot holes in that too. Like I like
What? That's
so
crazy.
in the movie they just dismiss Enzo. But in the novel, it starts out that he's like pretending like he doesn't speak English. And then it's later found out that
Oh.
he does speak English. He's Italian, but he speaks English, and he was trying to warn her. But then that's never really explained. Like, why didn't he just tell her that
Yeah.
she's in danger instead of like being oh pericolo, like in Italian? You know what I mean? Like, it's not the gold standard of writing by any means, but I think there could have been more effort
Yeah.
to uplift the parts of the novel that fell through, but also keep the things that made it what it is.
Yeah. I think
Um,
that's the difference between making it more like you care more about what's happening as opposed
mhm.
to just being kind of like okay or like just shocked because they go for more of the shock value like you said there's like some hard sequences of the
Yeah,
body
like
horror.
the body horror, yeah, which like I understand that like from a production standpoint, from like a direction standpoint, you want to like evoke those extreme emotions in your audience. Um, but like and like honestly, I actually do like that scene. That first
Mhm.
punishment scene was great with the China. But
She has to
like,
cut
again,
herself with the china. What
Yeah.
was it, like 27 times?
21,
21
21.
times because there's 21 pieces of broken china.
Sorry.
And yeah, I definitely
Yeah.
like that a lot too. And I was thinking like from like my day job outside of being a professional Sydney Sweeney impersonator is set dressing for film and TV. So, like the whole house itself, my girlfriend and I always talk about this, like the idea of like luxury porn becoming a subgenre where it's like, wow, look at this down on her luck girl finding this dream job with this hot guy in their nice McMansion, and she pulls up in her '04 Honda Civic. And I was like, oh, okay, like I get the appeal. But as you're talking about the change from like the room being like a broom closet to what the room is, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
because filming in a broom closet sucks and they wanted to do so much in there with
But
like torture
even
scenes, like with
like,
like the teeth
yeah.
pulling and all that. They couldn't fit a camera in there. It's like,
Well,
we'll big it up a bit just for the excellence they
and
wanted to do in there.
the teeth pulling was part of the novel plot.
Mhm.
Um, but instead of the big ending, she just essentially left him to die of dehydration in that room.
Oh,
So
so he
it
doesn't
was
get out well
he
or
doesn't
whatever
get
like
out. He doesn't get out and he dies in that room. And it's like a
oh shit.
slow, patient death where like she's just living in his house as he's dying. Like it's like I preferred that ending to the ending that they gave in the film, personally.
Yeah,
I
I
felt
would
like it fit
say.
the character better.
I would say too, like we always talk about, like, or I always talk about trying to predict what's going to happen if to see if I'm smarter than the movie writing or like the way they're displaying stuff. And I'm not the highest IQ individual, as you can tell. But the idea is
You
at
got
the
the
very
high
start.
IQ.
Yeah, pretty IQ. So I got something pretty big, but the whole point is when at the start when they're like, one day you're gonna kill me on these stairs, Andrew, because it's like this big staircase that winds around. I was like
Mhm.
calling it now. One of the two people, whoever's the bad guy, one of
Someone.
them definitely
Yeah.
is falling from that staircase gruesomely. And surely enough, when there's like that little chase at the end, and all that's going down, I was like, oh, this bitch is gonna trip and just completely bite it. Not what happens, but I immediately called that. And then secondly, when you saw the doll in the dollhouse and it reveals Millie's locked upstairs, and they're like, what was the game plan? Obviously, there's got to be more than just like crazy woman having a laugh at her housemaid. My thought was, because I keep talking about like having kids and the fertility and like her maybe being pregnant and not being pregnant.
Another body horror, right? Like
I thought
forced
I thought it was going to
impregnation.
be, yeah,
Yeah.
there's going to be like a
Yeah.
baby mill that they run on the housemaid, and that's why everyone's like, you should get out of here, you know? Maybe the first daughter was a product of a different housemaid years ago, and that's why Enzo knows. So like I had all those thoughts that might have come true, and then when none of it was true and it was like a lot more boilerplate, like simplified, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know, like is the book this like mediocre? But it sounds like they did a lot more work to service, like again, that ending, the slow death feels a little bit more cathartic and like
It
evil,
yeah. Which
so
is
yeah.
is which is interesting that you feel that way because I've seen so many takes of the film. Like I've read a lot of reviews because I just wanted to like hear what's going on in the echo chamber and like I heard the producer when he made these decisions, he called his ending more cathartic. And I was like, "How dare you? How very dare you? It is not. It is not more cathartic. Slow death is
Well,
better."
yeah, cathartic in the sense where it's like, don't you wish you could murder your abuser and have a slay queen moment with
Yeah,
several
I was gonna
characters near the end of the
say,
movie? Like even the
I
cop
th-
was like, she happened to be that guy's sister or something, or like
Well, and
her,
that
you know?
wasn't in the novel either. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they
was the
didn't need that.
difference.
I think they could have
Yeah,
just had the woman cop be like, I see you as a
yeah,
woman and I recognize this is a bad situation. I'll let it go. But it's like, actually, I was related to the person who mysteriously vanished before. So I feel like I also get a payoff for
yeah.
that person that was barely touched on. I was like, God, there's so many layers of just like, isn't
That
this a good
writing,
payoff? Yeah, it sucked.
yeah.
it gave me Duffer Brothers vibes, that writing, actually. Like,
The
Bring
whole
it back
last
to
episode.
Stranger Things,
Yeah,
bro.
the whole last episode we
yeah,
were talking about a horror movie. It was kind of like very mediocre, but I really appreciated it. And Shay was like, "Well, the writing was like so Netflix quality." They kept restating stuff, and I'm like, "Dude, I loved it because I just watched season 5 Stranger Things for 8 hours straight, then saw the movie. The writing felt like so fast and sharp comparatively." But I agree. I saw Stranger Things and The Housemaid during the holidays, and I was like, yeah, I don't know. Is everything
yeah,
kind of the same now? You know, like I fuck with that take a lot. I like that.
yeah.
Honestly, the ending of that made me think too that it's the safer pick to make this more appealing to people. Like it's like he was going to kill them, so they had to kill him. Where as opposed to giving
Yeah.
him that long death, it's like you could lose people on that. And I
Yeah,
think the
they're not bad
movie
people. They did it in
evidently
self defense.
But like
exactly. So doing that and then having the cop like say that like they really went like hard, I felt, to give the audience like permission to feel okay
closure.
about what
Yeah.
happened. And
Yeah.
it's like, no, dude, like it's okay to be a little challenging
Well,
in your
and the
content.
character, the main character does not get closure. She doesn't get closure for
Mhm.
like three more novels. So like what is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
Yeah,
excited
and that's
for.
they're gonna make another one. I think like I read
they
early that
definitely are.
it was like
Yeah.
confirmed or they were at
After
least
like the
like
first two
exploring it.
weeks in box office, they were talking
Yeah.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait
Crazy.
for the
Because
Housemaid
there's
Reloaded.
3,
It's gonna be so
right?
sick.
There's three novels and then there's like a
Okay.
supplementary short story, which I'm sure they will have like be like a closing credit scene or something of the final film. But
I
And
yeah.
yeah, okay.
I
I'm
feel
just
like
like, how are they gonna bring that guy back?
Well,
I'm
the
really
the supplementary thing is where she and Enzo get married and have the kids. So either they're just
Oh,
gonna abandon Enzo or they're gonna use it somehow.
they
But
must
okay.
be abandoning
yeah,
him, because I feel like
yeah,
if this was a streaming show, they definitely would have like fleshed it out more. Like, this whole movie would have been 8 at 1 hour episodes. But I think they realized the profitability because it is doing good numbers, and with streaming, it's like,
yeah.
where do we get some content? It's like, well, this movie would probably bomb with like a $30 to $40 million budget. But if it's a streaming show that's $80 million, 10 million episode, we can write it off. People will watch it, and if we're lucky, they'll be like, this is the new hit series, and it goes for 5 years and keeps that viewer retention and subscriptions going. But I'm happy to see something that is kind of schlop adjacent, like you said, Duffer Brother quality, like kind of Netflix writing,
Yeah,
being a
yeah,
theatrically released movie that does well in theaters during a like historically slow time, during the Oscar
Yeah.
time, and
yeah.
during Avatar, which is like, it's like defying all odds. Even though Sydney Sweeney has track record herself down, this movie, based on like, I don't know, the big brain, probably the producer, I thought was more cathartic, has better knowledge on business. Because
Could
again,
you
I
imagine
I
if
would take this
Avatar
over
had
that.
Sydney Sweeney? They'd be
Oh my
done. They'd
god.
be like,
Oh my god. Yeah, you should have been in my house when Shay and I saw Avatar 3, because every time off air I kept being like, the Navi bodies are too sexualized for theaters. I don't know how the MPA lets them get away with this. So yeah, if there's
Yeah,
a Sydney Sweeney
Brandon's our
Avatar,
senior nudity correspondent here at Screen Love Affair, so
oh
he's
yeah,
it's his big focus. But like, yeah, just to
equal
clarify
opportunity
too.
nudity.
Yeah, true. It's all nudity. It started off with what was it? What did you call it?
It was
Orcock or whatever?
Count Orlok
Yeah, from
from
Nosferatu.
Nosferatu. I called him Count Orcock instead of Orlok. And then we had
amazing.
28 years later, and because the main alpha zombie is a giant rip dude who's pantsless running around in a field, I called it 28 inches later, because
Yeah.
he's hanging dong. And then we followed that movie up recently, and I said, it was nice to see all these shirtless men being tortured. There's only one pair of breasts being skinned. You should just cut this. This part got demonetized when I said it last time. But anyways, yeah. So
Needless to say, though, if Brandon doesn't share the Gen Z mentality of like less sex scenes in movies, Brandon's the polar opposite of that. But like this movie's on the precipice of making 300 million at the box office, and to make money, I would have guessed it would have needed like 140 million. So everything after that basically is
It's
just clean profit for the theaters and for the studio. So that's
the
a huge,
budget,
and like honestly, yeah, it was
crazy.
35 million. So yeah,
yeah,
responsibly budgeted movie. And
Yeah.
there's like, if they connect, and right now there's 3 movies that actually are doing really good on the legs, and it's Avatar, this, and Marty Supreme, which is less of a success as this one financially, but again, same legs, like they're barely dropping. So a lot of people, the word of mouth or whatever it is on this movie is really keeping it alive, because 300 million for this in this day and age is crazy.
I mean, I know a lot of people, um, like, I mean, I'm on like Book Talk, Bookstagram a little bit, and I know a lot of people like who
now you're on
have
Movie
read
Talk.
Frida. Yeah, I'm making my rounds, guys. What's
I only did
next?
the outfit to compete with your expert knowledge on the book world. I don't read, period. Shay's got the website, and I was like,
That's
you need a
okay.
podcast because reading's out. So I'm happy we have a book talker to give some credibility to our comments
I'm
here.
the
So
bridge. I'm
yes,
the
Yeah,
yeah.
bridge.
exactly. Credibility.
But yeah, I know a lot of people who like have been because like Frida has kind of come back around in popularity since the announcement of The Housemaid a few years ago when they announced that it was coming out. And then when it was cast, I think that was when like the book really soared in popularity again. But I know like the theater that I was in, luckily, was not a lot of old men. It was mostly like people my age or like teenage girls,
Mhm.
which I think that kind of makes sense for Sydney Sweeney's demographic with like the Euphoria, like that was kind of a bridge between Gen Z and millennials. But um yeah, like her controversy right now is just it's it hasn't hindered her very much, I don't think.
Not with
Well,
this one.
I'm
I
pretty
think
old
that
Hollywood,
if
and there's
she
no such
could
thing as
find a
bad
vocal
publicity.
coach, If she could find a vocal coach, she would be a phenomenal pick for any
Yeah.
cast.
She
But
always does seem to have that like Valley Girl accent coming through unless she's doing like an actual accent or like performance. You know what I mean? Like if she's
Mhm.
playing a white
Yeah,
girl from the US, it is
yeah.
always I'm Millie,
But
I'm Sydney Sweeney. You know, it's always
but
that.
even like I remember, I think it might have been like 2022 or even 2023. Sydney Sweeney did a movie called Nocturne, and I really liked that. I think that was one of her best performances outside of Euphoria.
Interesting.
And yeah, so without getting too much into that movie, basically she plays a very talented young girl who is like vying for a spot in like an ensemble, and that's all I'll say. But she does really well in that one, and she kind of abandoned her like vocal fry a little bit, so it was like more palatable.
Yeah, no, that's the funny thing with Sydney Sweeney for sure is I feel like she's supposed to be one of the biggest like modern starlets, you know, like the way Scarlett Johansson was and Jennifer Lawrence was, and they still kind of are. It's like I think with social media, the fads they come and go faster, but people linger in the cultural zeitgeist longer. And I feel like Sydney Sweeney has been like a household name for yeah, at least the 2020s forward. Again, like she had a Dr. Squatch bath water, like Sydney Sweeney's bathwater flavored soap.
Forgot about
Uh,
that.
and that was
Never
obviously
forget.
like, yeah, and like that was like such an internet meme in the sense where, you know, Bella Delphine, who was like a e-girl, cam girl or whatever, who was selling bathwater, used bathwater for like thousands. So they're like, let's get like
Didn't
the
you
it
have a
girl, Sydney
bottle of that
Sweeney.
when I was at your place? I feel like I saw that in your bathroom.
Uh,
I believe
but
it. I believe
yeah,
it.
so but yeah, it also too just to kind of get back onto the Housemaid and nitpick really hard because I had a bunch. um you know, speaking of female nudity, I feel like she didn't go overwhelmingly sexy for a large part of the movie. She's very conservatively dressed to kind of blend in and be a bit of a chameleon. You know, when she went to bed, every time she's wearing basically baggy sweats or a fully covered turtleneck to hide what I'm hiding here. So I guess, but do you notice the one scene when she and was it Andrew in the script found each other to watch, was it Family Feud in the basement? She was wearing like a schoolgirl cosplay busty push-up type shirt for her like cleavage and her thighs to be out. And I was kind of thinking like that's really odd and out of character because they've shown her going to bed and getting ready for bed and dressing conservatively the whole movie, and then out of nowhere she can't sleep, so she's wearing this like kind of provocative outfit for the first time. And of course, it's the one night where she ends up bumping into the husband who's also feeling anxious and alone, and they hit it off. And then that's when the crazy housewife is like, "Don't come near my husband. I am onto you." You know what I mean? So I thought that was kind of out of place and like just a little too convenient. And I wonder if the book commented on that, being like, I was feeling so lonely, so I put on my high school uniform to feel something. Anyways, I went to the basement, like to the theater room, and there was
No,
Andrew watching
she
TV.
was just supposed to be wearing shorts. Just normal clothes. Normal.
I
I
want to call
Yeah.
it a prop thing though too, related to your nitpick beat, is that again, I'd have to see the scene again, but I thought they did this weird thing about that chandelier they had in the house where they like linger
Yeah.
on it and comment on it, and it looked like, I was like, oh, that looks like hair. And so as I'm watching, I'm like, oh, I wonder if that's like locks of hair from
from all the
people that he's
housemaids.
done this to before. So I was expecting that to come back around. And then in the movie, when the first punishment we see is him being like, pull out 100 hairs or whatever, I was like, oh shit, this is how he gets
I
the
want to see
So
the
fucking hair
follicle
thing. Never
in the
came up. I was completely
yeah,
wrong. It's not in the book. It's not a thing at all.
no.
It's just a weird as fuck prop that they commented on in the
especially
film. It
But
because
has
he
nothing to do with
designed the
any of
house
it.
himself. That would be a perfect tie-in for
so
that
I was like,
punishment.
I was so ready for that to pay off, and it never did. I'm like, what the fuck?
in the novel, Nina's punishment was to pull out her hair when her roots started to show.
Mm.
So like, but it even that like there's no hair chandelier in the novel. That was just a choice done by the production team, which honestly I thought it was kind of a cool choice. As someone who knew the plot, and like I thought it was a fun Easter egg for me, just for me, because I was
As
like,
a
I
as
know what's
a
coming.
As a set dresser, I too found it wildly distracting. Like the people that put that in,
Yeah,
they're like, "This is such contemporary, like upscale home sense." I would call it like Bouclairs,
yeah,
for example. I would say it felt like a very Bouclair boutique designed house, and I was kind of like, "Huh." And a lot of white and beige. Typically, I set up the podcast room to reflect the movie, and I was like, "Perfect." An evenly lit white room. I was going to record this in my bathroom, where it's a lot more girly with like taupes and contemporary art, and I was like, nah, that's too much effort. But yeah,
A
yeah, I
little too much
couldn't
effort
help.
for the housemaid. No, I think the other thing that was like it was so distracting to me, and I understand too, because you can't, like, that can't be the only punishment. But when he then was like, the plate broke thing, and then he's like, "Yeah, now cut yourself 28 times." I'm like, "Oh shit, dude, what happened to the hair pulling?" And that's when I was like, like, you
that
didn't even make
escalated
her pull out
quickly.
her hair. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
So I was like, kind of like, I'm like, "Oh shit," like, okay. And I realized you would have, like, it can't, every time you fuck up, I just make you pull out 100 hairs. There's probably not like this super dramatic, suspenseful beat that it could be. But yeah, it just threw me off. And I think that's like a kind of filmmaking 101 issue, where it's like, you gotta, like, how you shoot them, like again, and I don't know if it was me reading into it, but I just felt like that, like, it stood out to me as, again, someone that knew nothing. I was like, oh, like, they focused on this, it's probably gonna come back and be a
yeah,
thing. And then and like, again, whether the hair pulling was just convenient, I was like, oh, that's how he gets. I was like, that's a lot of fucking hair in that chandelier, dude's been at this for a while. And then it's like, oh no, that was just some super specific to the fact that her roots were showing or whatever. And
yeah.
I was like, okay, so yeah, just a little filmmaking 101 beat is like, try and be mindful of that, because props. It's a
Yeah.
real impactful thing here. And yeah, it just threw me off that that never came back. I'm like, was it in the novel? And Taylor's like, no, not at all. It's like, oh,
I,
okay.
No,
I
not
would
the
say
chandelier. No, they
it
only
very
talked about a
effectively.
chandelier once, a just normal one.
It
Yeah.
very effectively made me pivot because I was enjoying the romance fantasy element of it. And so when he asks her to scar her stomach with the glass like all those times, I was like, oh my gosh, this guy's such a sadist. He's so mean. Nothing else until then. I was like red flagged. I was like, because scarring Sydney Sweeney's midriff is like scratching a Porsche to prove a point. Like, dude, you're ruining your own uh glorious ride here. Like, what the hell, man? Anyway, so that was my big pivot. But I do like her revenge where when she gets him on the other side and she gets him to pull out a tooth, and it ties back to his mother being like, a smile is a privilege, brush your teeth and all
Yeah.
that. I did like that. Also, the
Well,
mom, stone cold bitch as well. She does not change at the end of the movie. They just
stone
kind of
cold bitch. So in the
yeah.
novel, that actually, like, she used to forcibly pull out Andrew's baby teeth when he didn't brush his teeth enough. So
Oh.
that was the full circle punishment of pull out your teeth.
I like the Freudian payoff, knowing that
Yeah.
now that it's
Yeah.
like she's mommy, she's like, I'm pulling your
Yeah.
teeth out.
She
Yeah.
is mommy.
It just kind of bothers me a little bit more then that they like stripped away some of the complexity of this then, because like, which, like, I understand, like, books, like, again, I just saw all three of the Lord of the Rings extended cuts yesterday. Like, I understand there's lots of details and things you have to
Yeah.
trim down from book, like, I get that in adaptations. But like, the thing that's bothering me the most about these differences you're highlighting is like, the complexity they stripped out. Like, why did we not, like, we obviously got the indication his mom's fucked up and weird and all that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Obviously, because
sure.
how else? Like,
Right, right.
yeah.
But like,
It
to
all starts with
like,
mom.
we couldn't see the teeth thing. Like, they didn't, like, and again,
Yeah.
like, you can cut it for time, you can make whatever excuse you want, but it's like, they were very careful, I feel like, and I feel like this all feeds into kind of those other criticisms we've been talking about, of like, they didn't want him to be at all sympathetic. Right. Like, and then again, it's not that it excuses his behavior, but
Yeah.
it makes it a little bit more complex if they like torture him effectively
Yeah.
by leaving him in that house and all that. Like, it just makes it more challenging. And I really feel like they made a lot of changes here to really make it just easy to be like, yeah, fuck
Palatable.
that guy. And
Yeah.
everyone
Yeah.
can like, and be happy with the main character. And so, okay, I got a question for you too. if they leave him in the room, or she leaves him in the room, that's where I'm gonna get like, my question is, does Amanda Seyfried's character come back in the book, or like how
She
does
does
that
come
work?
back. She does come
Okay,
back, but like okay, and this is also a difference too. In the film, Nina, Amanda Seyfried's character, she leaves a knife for Millie. But in the book,
okay,
it's just pepper spray, and she basically has to fight her way out.
gotcha,
And so when the tables turn, there's no stab in the neck. There's none of that. Like it's very much like she is desperate, clawing her way past this man, and then figures out how she's gonna deal with him accordingly when
gotcha.
she gets past him. Yeah.
I do like that she left her charcuterie board knife to fend off her like 6'8" stud muffin husband who has a history of violence.
Right?
I thought that was a really good advantage to give her for that one pivotal moment. But yeah, she's cutting brie, and also she stabs him in the neck. And I think we had this criticism
Great
of the
for
recent
soft
movie.
cheeses and carotid arteries.
Carotid, exactly. It's like we see so many movies where people go down from like a stab to the neck, and then this movie that stab to the neck was the least vital stab to the neck I've ever seen. So I
Yeah.
feel like retroactively
Yeah,
they're like, what if it's a sharp charcuterie knife for soft cheeses? Yeah, yeah, that's how you'll survive it going into your throat for God knows how many more days of suffering up in the attic. But again, nitpick
Yeah.
wise, I remember leaving having like a list of nitpicks, but this is gonna be a great episode. And then when the movie concluded, I was like, I don't think this is an episode worth of content. Like none of us read the books.
right.
Like is it a half hour? We just kind of rib on it. I mean, it's not an awful offensive movie. Like it's not so bad it's good. It's actually I'd say largely a okay good movie. Just
It's okay.
yeah
Yeah,
for
like it's not in my top 10 movies of all time by any means, but
yeah
like
yeah
it it might
it's
have some
accessible.
rewatch value in a few years. Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like
I think
especially if they
it's a
franchise it.
perfect
yeah.
2.5 mid by my scale of like, it's not so bad they're like, oh my god, like I hated it or I disliked it.
Or you had to leave the
It's like,
theater like
yeah.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like it's whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think like by and large, I want to talk about Amanda Seyfried a little bit because I feel like she's the one that's gotten the least attention here.
Masterclass.
She
Masterclass.
is great.
Obsessed.
I also just saw a testament of Anne Lee, which I will say did not work. Like I didn't get into that at all, but she was amazing in it. And yeah, like I think she did all of the legwork to really make this movie, I think, actually work for me, even knowing
Yeah.
what I did, like what the trailer sells of like, oh, it's the crazy, like she's nuts and whatever. I think I was still like I was surprised by the pivot. Like I knew it was coming to a degree. Like I knew the husband was cracked. I didn't know if she like was putting on a show or was also just cracked because like I didn't know all the details, but because I knew again from that useless dollhouse scene that okay, he's actually the
The
bad
useless
guy.
scene. Yeah.
Then I was like, okay, so I was kind of like thinking of it in that context, but I felt like she like really sold, like it didn't. And again, this is like to the movie, like if you get a role reversal, for example, like if you put someone of like Sydney Sweeney's acting talent, like I don't know that if I find the believability of the crazy as real. Like I genuinely
Yeah.
thought she was nuts. I didn't ever think of it as performative.
Yeah.
And so like I was that I think contributed to my like, oh, so when they cut and it's like a triumphant moment for her, like I thought that was interesting. um and yeah, like she to me was like really carried this, and I think it's gonna be super interesting in the next one, I guess, with like I'm assuming she's not around after this.
No. I
Okay,
think
so
like there's
that's
like
a big
there
loss, I feel like,
there's
for
like
the
one
movie.
kind of opportunity where she comes back and like they meet up, I'm pretty sure.
It's like an Avengers Assemble moment in the
But
Housemaid trilogy.
kind of, but like she's not like a main fixture
Yeah.
of the plot as it moves forward. Just like she'll Millie like references her a few times and I think they call her for something and that's really
Yeah.
good.
And
Yeah.
for the record, by the way, I checked the what was he like, the gardener or whatever. That guy is
Enzo?
confirmed to be in the next movie.
Okay, good.
He
Because
is.
how would the story continue?
So I feel like it'll be super funny to see the gymnastics they have to pull off to make that work organic.
Yeah,
I was so confused as like, again, knowing nothing. I was like,
yeah,
why was he in this movie other than just to be like, oh, because like normally, like I feel like in a more traditional movie they kill him or something, right? Like
yeah,
he's about to warn her or something, and then he gets
he's
killed
an
for trying to be a
expendable
nice guy.
character, yeah,
Right, but they reveal
no,
that he knows it all and like the whole thing, and then he
yeah.
just is inconsequential completely. And I'm like, why was he in here? And then it's like, oh well, he's big in the other stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess. But yeah, he's in the next one. So
the funny thing
good.
is
confirmed return.
When you're on set and you're filming like a TV show or a movie, and like a character's final scene is filmed, usually what happens is like let's just say like it's somebody getting murdered, and then that's the last shot they needed of that coverage, and now the actor is no longer required to be on set for the rest of filming. Usually everyone goes, okay, no, that's a wrap for Millie or whatever, and everyone like claps like, oh, good work, okay, so, and then they just continue on with their coverage. But I love to see the world where Enzo's character, he's like, get out of here, and he's like stares at him and he just walks off, and it's one shot, and then everyone's like, okay, it's a season wrap for Enzo, everybody, all right, and like he walks out of the movie, exit stage left, that's it.
Just
so
stares through window, exit stage left.
Yeah, and also that was so like stupid, like as a
dropping the plate,
like just to like you're nervous and helpful, and he's just like trying to make himself as weird and creepy as possible.
Yeah.
Like I find that like, or just even how he like interacted with her. Like I understand, like he feels bad about her. Like I get the complexity for the character, but it was like have it be more awkward than be like more sinister, or creepy, or weird. Like it just felt super inorganic. Like it blew me away when like you're telling me that they get married and have kids. I'm like, what? Like
there's
that
no
guy
chemistry
doesn't look
between
like,
those characters.
That guy looks like he can't talk to another human being. Like, what are you talking about?
Like
I thought he also went to prison with Sydney
Sweeney. There's no
Sweeney.
chemistry.
Yeah, my initial thought was that because he's like, it looked like they knew each other, and he's like, you shouldn't be here. Like they were both jailbirds or something, and they saw each other as like trying to like parasitically live off this family. I thought, again, felt like there's creative directions I thought they were going to go to expand this, and knowing it was adapted from the novel, I was like, well, I just didn't read it. Maybe it's a bigger brain thing. But to know that it is in a way different direction, and the movie didn't do enough service to set it up. It's like, again, like I said, I'm excited for like the Housemaid Reloaded, or the Housemaid Requiem or something, like, where she comes back with a vengeance, and Enzo's like, you can't keep getting away with this by yourself. I'll be your accomplice. I'll be the janitor. And they do some tag team. I don't know. But yeah, the whole Enzo thing, really weird. And especially knowing that he's coming back, and the book has him as like an integral character for many entries. So it's not sure what to expect.
That was the biggest glaring difference for me, was the choice to minimize Enzo as a character. Yeah.
Well, as far as what to expect for the future, I guess, of these movies, like are tonally like, what are these? Because I feel like you can like okay, so here's what I know about the author. It's like she's like the M. Night Shyamalan of books, where every book literally has a twist, and there's always something. So, but like without, I don't want to know anything. We'll reconvene on Housemaid 2, the later second final reckoning, or whatever they call it. But like, are they the same sort of like?
Yeah, very
movies?
Similar.
Okay.
Yeah, like still lots of like Millie in desperation, just problem solving, like just pushing forward and doing what Millie does. So
all right. Well, I mean,
also I was gonna say, like, speaking of doing what Millie does, and like you said, the Avengers Assemble level, like heroicism that we felt like when at the end they do like the wink and nod team up kind of thing. We talked about, like, again, not taking any big swings or leaving anything morally ambiguous. They really do the work to set the table with those flashbacks to her in college and why she got arrested in the first place. To be like, she stopped a sexual assault on a campus and accidentally murdered the guy, or whatever, like I felt like that was so also kind of ham-fisted, again, leaving that like no room for like, maybe she is a crooked person. Because I thought, again, the plot twist in different movie that wasn't based on a book or
Yeah.
IP would have been like she gets off to becoming a housemaid and slowly
She
ruining other
might
people's
be
lives,
taking
you
it
know?
too far. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't want to give anything away, but yeah, there is definitely the question of what is protection and how far is too far.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hmm. I'm excited to see that theme explored in great depth over the
Well,
next
that's
3-part
see, this
franchise.
is what's concerning me now is that I'm like, are these going to get markedly worse because they're going to try and take
Who knows?
complexity and strip it, right? Like this is where I think like
Or
it's
even worse, try and just shove all the complexity back into it after taking it
right,
all
and
out.
it
Like
feels like a
it could go
total
either
whip.
way. Like
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
I'm
I
gonna say I didn't have like high hopes for the first film, so I'm probably not gonna go into the second one with high hopes.
yeah.
Um, but I'm excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's a
because
real measured approach because yeah, like nothing like I'm more curious and I think the one thing I will say is like obviously it's working, you can't deny the results as far as the financial component of this, but
Mhm.
I find it fascinating because I knew so many people that had asked me about this movie because of the book. They knew the book first and
Yeah.
all of that. And it's like that's an indication that again not I didn't know about the book before but it's a clearly a popular thing and it has all that kind of complexity in it and it's kind of I guess I'm always disappointed when I feel like you strip things away because like that's where I felt like you brought it up Brandon like the eye roll reveals of like what did she do to like be this desolate like she can't even do something that is kind of morally ambiguous like should it
yeah,
have been like oh like I you know it was even started it was like no I walked in mid action and they show that and then she fucking like I'm like it was just every point they could to make her as sympathetic and make her actions as like
also
encouraging as possible and I'm like I find that just kind of like it's so like it's you become so virtuous it's now just like what are you perfect like and you just kind of roll your eyes about like the and in a movie where I feel like again to make it a bit more interesting, like yeah, like give her that edge of like letting him sit in that room for you know however long it takes for him to die off, like and just like have her relish in that a little bit. Like I feel like you could have done some interesting things with that, and it's kind of disappointing that they're like nope, streamline, make it digestible, and but again, I
Yeah.
can't argue with the financial
all
results of it. So
Also, I would say too, is on that note, and what you're talking about, like the character of Millie's desperation being shown better in the novel, where Hero is a little bit more ham-fisted again. Again, the subtlety to her being a great character and virtuous and righteous, she couldn't hold down any other job because every time she worked at a bar or anywhere else, there's always a man doing sexual assault
She
on women.
would end up in an
Yeah.
yeah,
altercation. Yeah.
So it's like of course so then when she gets this job that's so perfect of course yeah it's a man who's the ultimate predator and now she's the ultimate housemaid who's been preparing her whole career of being an ex-con trying to go straight to give him the comeuppance and yeah so like it wasn't just her like origin story but like the expansion on it and her desperation and like why she needs the job is because she can't hold down a normal job because just men everywhere suck so I thought that was kind of a funny, again, lack of subtlety. It's not like you need to be subtle, and I also didn't want 20 minutes more of screen
Of
time where it's like
it
explanation.
felt
Yeah.
long.
explaining
It
it. It felt
felt
kind of.
long. I
It was
have
only
to
a
say the
3-minute scene, I
pacing of
think,
this
too.
was not great. Like this
Yeah,
movie felt much longer than it was, and also, but like it
Yeah.
was 2:20. I think it was damn close to that. Like it's
Yeah.
pretty long. I feel like for what this was, and I think like yeah, on the pacing it suffered a little bit. But I have to say, if I'm pitching the future ones, maybe take things from whatever's in the books. Like I can't speak to that. But what I want this to be is basically have it be Sydney Sweeney's Jason Statham-esque franchise where like every
mm.
January Sydney Sweeney becomes
I'd be here for that.
Batman and she
Yeah.
just like kills some douche asshole every movie. Like, have fun with it. To me, it's like, now, okay, if we're doing this, like, lean into the bit. But I feel like it's that's what Shea the dude bro wants. The John Wick lover wants to see that. I think the target demographic is going to enjoy more probably the direction I'd imagine they'll
Sydney
go with
Sweeney's
this
The
next
I don't
Working
movie.
know.
Woman.
I think Gen Zs and millennials alike would really enjoy just seeing Sydney Sweeney as a killing machine. That'd
Yeah,
be great.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
next
it's
movie,
there.
have her killing in a crop top. One movie, have her killing in a ball gown. I don't know, like just
Let's go.
different outfits with her tits up to her chin, and it'll be cinema.
Just
That's
like
it.
our
I couldn't
resident
agree
Sydney
harder.
Sweeney
Yeah.
expert on the podcast.
Like,
Can you hear
Oh, man.
my jugs here? Like,
Every once in a while when they rub together, yeah, we get a nice audio
the
cue.
squeeze sound was something.
Yeah.
oh, here, I think because we're almost out of here, and this is godly uncomfortable. I'm just gonna pop them real quick. I can't do it.
Damn,
I can't do
those
it.
things are so firm they can't even be popped.
I'm putting a drill bit into it too. It's not even going. It's these are some quality balloons. But yeah, no, that's totally accurate though. I couldn't agree more with both of you guys. I think that is the best way to do it. Kill her in a crop top. Sydney Sweeney, a working woman, like Jason Statham's a working man. Put her in kind of a B-list type movie and let her go. And I think you get away cutting the budget. Make it a $10 million more, hard on its sleeve slasher kind of affair.
Yeah.
And that way, if it
Like,
doesn't
think
do
3D blood
gangbusters,
spatter. 3D
yes,
blood spatter,
yeah,
Sydney Sweeney's boobs.
yes,
Cinema.
yeah,
That's it. That's
yeah,
all you need.
yeah.
all you
And like, you could shamelessly do more, hero character building by showing more SA scenes with more provocative nudity. That would be bad, obviously, but you could get away with it if you wanted to go that extra, cheesy, schlocky route. But again, Gen Z is not clamoring for more nudity, which is a shame.
I just
They
had
get
like a
enough of it
mental
online.
image of like a Good Luck Chuck style montage, but of Sydney Sweeney just coming in and bludgeoning men.
Good luck, Chuck, dude. What a deep cut for the pod.
Yeah.
That era of those movies kills me, and I revisit them probably like once every 5 years because they were so formative in my childhood. Good luck, Chuck. What an absolute deep cut on that bit. Well, I do have to say I didn't really have anything specifically related to theater etiquette in my screening. There was a lot of honestly, I said old guys that were there, but before we started recording, but they were old couples, which I thought was interesting. Like, I don't
That's
think there was
cute.
any old guy by himself. It was a lot of old couples, and they would like
a little
giggle to
different.
each other at the nudity part. Like, again, also probably emblematic of the fact I saw this in Owen Sound where, old couples is basically the default demographic.
Population
there.
28,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
28,000, and there was probably about 10% of that, like 2,800, going to go see Sydney Sweeney in The Housemaid.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
big win for cinema.
I'm pretty sure it's still showing there. So I think when I looked to suggest something for my mom last weekend, I think it was still on there. So yeah,
That's
it's doing gangbusters in the Owen Sound demographics out there. But I will say we did have another bit where I got to shout out Ty. I love Ty. He absolutely nailed this. If you're in the front row, and especially the closer you are to the front of the screen, the more visible your screen is when you pull out your phone. And there's a dude in front of me that like had the dark mode and like the tint kind of cover on his screen. I'm like, and he was only pulling it out, like, and we still interrupted, like, hey man, can you please? But Ty absolutely took a candy frog, and absolutely pinpoint nailed this woman. She puts the phone down, looks around, instantly pulls the phone back up though. Like, did not take the lesson whatsoever. So Ty's like, put your fucking phone away. And then not only does the thing that killed me, her boyfriend yelled back at us, was like, fuck off. And like, hits us back. But the thing is,
Hummel your ass.
that guy and his girlfriend know that they were doing wrong, because not a single time did she pull that fucking phone out for the final 2.5 hours of Return of the King. Okay, so shaming people works.
It
Even
works.
if they yell,
Bring back shame.
fuck people.
Mhm.
Don't. And this is the other thing. If you go with a group and your friends don't let friends text in a theater. Okay, remember that. Tina, thank you so much for coming. I'm hoping, hopefully the Housemaid 2, there's a quick turnaround on production, because I would
Yeah.
love to do this again, talking about the sequel and see what direction they go with it. But you're welcome anytime. Anything comes up, you let us know. And
Yeah, if there's a book to movie project I like. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
If you like this episode too, this was because Tina messaged me and was just like, dude, what did you guys think of the Housemaid? Did you do an episode on the Housemaid? I'm like, come do an episode with us. So we take those requests. We saw the movie, we just didn't feel compelled to cover it, and there
Tina
wasn't
is
enough
a really
nudity
special
for
guest.
Brandon.
Because I said I could talk about the nudity scene for a half an hour, and I'll dress up with fake cleavage and a wig and glasses. And Shea said, doesn't seem worth it. But when Tina mentioned it, someone who read the book and had so much to say on it, he was like, we got an episode, dude. Dig out your fake brassiere. Let's go. So, between last week doing a Satanist, PDF file character with a wig, and this week cross-dressing, I'm sure our Midwestern American demographic is not going to love the pod, but we do it for the gag and for enjoying peak cinema. And it's nice to have a guest on that knows what they're talking about.
Any more movies where we can get Brandon more time out of that wig too, or in it, frankly, I think could really work. So
I'm just extremely grateful we weren't asked to cover Zootopia 2.
Not
I
yet.
Definitely, not yet.
Careful.
I don't want to invest in the furry community quite yet. So this is as far as I think I'm willing to go for the pod.
You just need some ears.
Ears. Those like headphones with cat ears on them that everyone likes. But no,
I got them.
There you go. See, joking aside, no, thank you a lot, Tina. I really appreciate you coming on. And well, as always, behave in the theater, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right, thanks for listening to the podcast. I'm Sydney Sweeney. Catch me in Euphoria season whatever. Okay, bye. Oh my God. Oh.
One down.
Oh, come on. It's just me, your girl Millie. Oh, man. Nice.